Set up a new Google Ads account and Google guides you into Performance Max, or PMax for short. So it must be the best option, right? Or maybe you got the message that said, upgrade to Performance Max and you can unlock 18% more conversions today. Sounds like magic. One campaign, every platform, total automation. But for a local plumber or a lawyer, is this really a shortcut to growth, or is it just a shortcut to wasted ad budget? I'm Jack Hepp. I've spent more than 10 years working with local businesses to get the most out of their Google ads. And today on Jack of All Ads, we're diving into the campaign type that PPC managers love to hate the most. So let's see if it makes sense for your business. Should you use it? Let's dive in. First, let's dive into the biggest problems that PMax presents for local businesses. PMax is a fully automated campaign, which means Google decides which ads show, where they show, what they look like. And so in order to make that work, you need a lot of data for Google to understand which ad types work, where ad on the Google Ads platform they make the most sense. And that's one of the biggest things that local businesses often don't have is data. They don't have the budget to spend to test what's working and test what's not working. And that's the necessary piece of Performance Max for the algorithm to learn what's going to work best. So in 2026, the golden rule is still typically that you want 15 to 30 conversions per month for a campaign to be successful. With Performance Max, I think you want to be on the high end of that range, if not even well above it. Google needs a ton of data to make sure that it understands what's working and where people should go. So if you're a local roofer and you're getting 5, 6 leads a month, PMax doesn't have enough data to learn who your customer is. And then it starts to just guess. And when Google starts to guess, you're ultimately going to be the one who pays for it. For large budgets and big companies, that might be okay. You might have a 5% wasted budget as Google learns what's working, and that might be all right. For small businesses, that 5% can mean the difference between being profitable or losing money. And so you don't have the ability to let Google figure out what's working and what's not. The next problem with PMax is that when data is low, PMax will often just start chasing cheap traffic. That leads to a lot of spend on like website display ads and mobile gaming apps, and it just spends your budget there. You want a customer and instead you're getting accidental clicks or clicks from kids on YouTube or other sorts of traffic that's just not the best for your business. When PMax doesn't have enough data to understand what's going to work, it's going to find a place to spend that money no matter what. And so it might spend it in places that just makes absolutely no sense for your business. And then another issue with PMax is that you need a lot of assets. It's a really visual campaign type. You need videos, you need images, you have to generate headlines, long headlines, descriptions. If you don't have that kind of content, then you might have Google generating low quality videos to serve on YouTube for you, or you are going to have less than ideal images showing for your business in display ads. And ultimately for many small advertisers, that's one of the things that they don't have. All right. So with those challenges in mind, should you use PMax or not? It might sound like I'm just going to say absolutely not, but let's dive in a little bit deeper because there are some places where local businesses should use PMax, and there's some places where I think you absolutely should not. So to get started, let's dive into service businesses. So if you're a plumber, a roofer, an accountant, a tax professional, if you're any type of service business, PMax is probably not the right answer for you. Anytime that you're trying to generate leads, PMax tends to be a really challenging campaign type. Ultimately, PMax can be really great at getting results. The problem for most of these lead gen businesses is that those results often aren't the right ones. And so if you're not tracking really high quality leads and telling Google who your ideal customers are, it's just going to keep finding you more of the types of leads that it can find. So for most businesses, that ends up being spam leads. I worked with a local roofing business who was getting 5 leads a month, but they were all coming from the same spam phone number over and over and over again. But PMax didn't know the difference. What it saw was a conversion. And so it thought, hey, this is easy. Let's go capture more lead volume. Ultimately, if you want PMax to work for a service business, you're going to have to be feeding in super high quality data. That means closed deals or sales qualified leads or something that's really high quality. So PMax knows, hey, this is the type of lead that you need. I don't need spam leads. I don't need job searchers. I need leads that are actually turning into qualified leads or ultimately closed deals. That's a big challenge. And the vast majority of local service businesses don't have an answer for that right now. And because of that, they should probably just stay away from PMax. Once PMax locks in on something that it thinks is successful, it's really good at getting you a lot more volume. The problem is if those are cheap leads or junk leads, you're suddenly just going to get flooded with more of those junk leads. Your call center is going to be dealing with 30 spam phone calls a day because PMax thinks that's working. And so it gets you more and more and more. If you're just capturing DIYers, all of a sudden that's all your website is filled with is people looking for the latest tip. So if you don't have high quality lead data, and if you don't have a lot of lead data, you really should stay away from PMax as a service business. Another challenge that service businesses run into with PMax is that PMax really serves across all levels of intent. And so without a lot of data, again, it struggles to find what level of intent is best for your business. It may be finding, maybe you want high value customers or high income customers. And instead, PMax is finding you lots of, people looking for free deals or cheap deals. While there's a lot more controls in PMax now than when it launched, it's still hard to get it away from, those easy, cheap clicks from people looking for the most affordable solution and direct it towards the people that are maybe your ideal high value client. And so because of that, search ultimately becomes the most valuable place for service businesses to be. You get to control your intent, and it's a lot less dependent on data determining where ads should show. When you're running search campaigns, you know where they're showing. They're showing in search results. You get to control the keywords they're showing on, and so you have a lot more control over the type of intent that a searcher has. You can identify keywords that are much more likely to be a high value client versus someone looking for the cheapest option. And so search gives you a lot more value to go out and find the type of customers that you need. You don't want PMax to go out and spend budget on video or display ads that might someday become a customer. You want a search campaign that's going out and capturing people that are saying like, hey, I need your business right now, and I'm ready to submit your form or to make a phone call. So if you're a local business, when does PMax actually make sense? And to be honest, there are quite a few situations where PMax might make a ton of sense. So if you're any type of business that's trying to drive foot traffic to your store, PMax can actually add a lot of value. If maybe you're a coffee shop, a restaurant, a gym, or some other sort of local business that you want people to come in your store, Performance Max and the channels that it can serve on can actually be really powerful at getting in front of those people at the right time. Not only can it capture the people searching for, this restaurant near me, it can also, serve those ads on YouTube videos for people that are interested in that type of service. Maybe you're a gym owner and PMax is able to identify somebody watching workout videos. And so they can serve your gym ad alongside that YouTube video. So if you're a business that's trying to drive foot traffic, I would absolutely look at PMax as an opportunity. However, I'd still probably start with search campaigns. Again, PMax takes a lot of data to learn. And even though foot traffic campaigns might have more readily accessible data, and you're much more able to deal with high awareness campaigns that aren't necessarily converting right this minute, there's still a lot more value in a search campaign that can capture the coffee near me search or the local restaurants in my area or gyms near me. That type of search content is still super valuable. And if you have to choose between one or the other because of budget constraints, I would still lean on search ads first. You can still capture that high intent traffic, and you're much more likely to turn those people into customers than on PMax, where you're relying a little bit more on some awareness and things of that nature. Now, one of the really powerful options that Performance Max has for local businesses trying to drive foot traffic is it's a really great way to get inside of Google Maps. Now, search campaigns can get inside of Google Maps as well, but Performance Max campaigns can show sponsored pins. I frequently see Google Maps becoming the dominant placement inside of a local campaign. Now, the challenge for these is it's still hard to track. Google store visit goals aren't necessarily the most reliable because Google's trying to estimate the people that made it to your store. Get direction clicks are, again, a sign of intent, but we don't know if they made it to your store or not. So PMax still presents a challenge for tracking those types of people, but you're getting in front of people that are looking at your business on Google Maps. Maybe PMax is still capturing some high intent search traffic as well, serving some YouTube ads to the right people. But the Google Maps placements inside of Performance Max are really powerful for local businesses that want to be visible in front of people looking for, the solution to the food that they need now. All right, so let's come back. Should you run PMax? Let's run through a few questions to decide. First, are you a service business? My answer is probably no. For most service businesses, I would just stay away from Performance Max. It's probably not going to provide much uplift for your business beyond standard search campaigns. And even if you are seeing performance out of the campaign, there's probably a more efficient way of capturing the same sort of traffic from a standard search campaign. Now, if you're, a local business that needs foot traffic, should you run Performance Max? The answer might be yes, but let's run through a few questions first. Is it your first campaign in the account? If it is, I would start with standard search. When you're first launching a campaign, Google has no idea what your business is or how it works. You need to provide Google some data first to make Performance Max more successful. So I'd start with a standard search campaign, find high intent traffic, and get people coming to your website. Now Performance Max can be layered on later on to capture more maps traffic, hit some people higher in the funnel, and those sorts of things. But I wouldn't start with Performance Max. All right, number 2, do you have some sort of high quality conversion tracking in place? If yes, then again, Performance Max might be an option for you if you're generating, 30 plus leads a month. If you're not, I'd probably stay on search. If you're a local business with foot traffic that can track some sort of, get direction clicks or store visits, and you're getting 30 or more of those a month, Performance Max might make sense for you. Question number 3, is your search campaign already driving results? If you're struggling with your search campaign, Performance Max is not going to be a fix for your broken account. If standard search isn't working for you, you're not going to suddenly use Performance Max and it's the magic solution to every problem that you've had. In fact, it's probably just going to be worse in performance because now Google's going to layer on all kinds of additional things like YouTube videos or display ads that don't necessarily drive results. So if you don't already have a search campaign working well for your business, I would stay away from Performance Max until you're able to figure out how to make search work. And the final thing, do you have high quality assets? Do you have videos and images? If you don't have good assets, your ads might look like spam or just low quality. And that's not really how you want to represent your business. So if you don't have the ability to generate high quality ad assets, again, I'd stay away from Performance Max. Ultimately, I know that Google is going to try to push you into Performance Max when you get into your account. They're going to tell you to upgrade to it or to test it. You might have Google ad reps that are telling you that it'll work great for your business. But ultimately, for most local businesses, it's probably not a campaign type that you're ready for. Instead, you should master your search campaigns, build up a lot of data, and then when you're ready to grow your account more, PMax might be a good addition. It might help you move further up the funnel and capture more customers, but it's probably not going to be the right campaign type from the start. All right, if you've got a PMax horror story, leave it in the comments or shoot me a message and we could talk about it. Maybe there's something we can look at to help fix it. I'm Jack Hepp. Thanks for tuning in to Jack of All Ads, and we'll see you next week.